Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Awaken to Your Soul Path. I am your host, Barbara, and today I'm joined by the beautiful Daria Stan. And we are going to be talking about how to repair our broken parts, also known as Kitsuing Ourselves. And I've been looking forward to this because, well, most of us have broken parts. And there is, I think, a huge part in our lives where we don't realize it, or maybe we have a vague sense of it, but we don't look at it until these broken parts become so dominant in our lives that there's no way around it, right?
Yes, yes. And the thing about broken parts is that they always come up, mostly in relationships. They always come back to haunt you. And it's mostly emotions, really, when you boil down to it.
Yes.
We repress ourselves and we think we're being the nice guy, but not showing anger, jealousy, envy. And we think we're the good guys for not showing that and repressing that and hiding that. But that only ends up eating us inside. We keep reliving the same cycle over and over and over again.
Hmm.
They all come back with different faces, but same story.
Yes.
And until we face it, until it hurts enough to face it.
Yes, exactly. And it stems, I think, especially for highly sensitive people and empaths, it stems from the fact that we've always been very aware of the fact that we are different from everybody else. And for a lot of us, that looked like we felt like we couldn't be ourselves, or we need to change ourselves in order to be liked or to have friends or to fit in. And that also sort of makes us suppress parts of ourselves. So if something makes us angry and we are already feeling like an outcast, we won't show it because we are afraid of the consequences of it. Or if we are jealous of something, we don't want people to see us as the green-eyed jealous monster. So then we mask it with maybe laughter, or we make light of it, or we make fun of it. And that inevitably leads to a moment in your life where you can no longer do this, where everything comes rushing back and where you are confronted with it.
But I think that what makes us, like you said, as highly sensitive people, more likely to suppress ourselves than to harm ourselves, because that's what we're doing, we're harming ourselves, is the fact that we are highly sensitive and we understand the other.
Yes.
So you'll get angry, but you say, oh, I know what they're doing. They didn't mean it. It's okay. It's because of their own wounds. And you bypass your own feelings. You bypass your own identity to please somebody else because you feel them. You're an empath. You feel them. You understand them. And you put yourself second as if you don't matter as much, as if your feelings weren't hurt by that person, and you don't allow yourself to feel hurt, and you don't allow yourself to feel angry because, oh, leave it, it's their problem, oh, don't mind it, they'll get over it. We try to empathize and help people so much that we put ourselves not just second, we put ourselves last over and over and over again.
Yes. Yes, exactly. When we are in our default setting and we haven't learned that this is not in our best interest, then we give and we give and we give and we give. And more often than not, we also forget to fill up our own cup. We not only suppress our emotions or push them away, but we also don't really take care of ourselves because we are too busy taking care of other people or trying to please other people. And that chips away at us.
It's even deeper than that because, at least according to the laws of hermetics, the pendulum always swings. The movement of the pendulum to one direction is equal to the movement of pendulum in the other direction. So
Yes.
the more we think we're being nice, the more we think we're, helping people and letting this part and letting that one part and not showing anger here and not showing anger there and not expressing ourselves, we keep moving the pendulum in one direction of acceptance, of tolerance, of all of that. And there comes a moment when the pendulum swings abruptly in the other direction and we become, reactive. We become easily triggered. We become hurtful to ourselves. We begin resentment. We have all these build up things that start exploding. And that again hurts us, because I'm not this type of person. What's happening? What am I doing this? I had lots of clients when they went reactive, when they realized that they suppressed themselves and they went reactive, they went, what's happening with me? And nothing's happening. It's normal. It's your reactive side showing up.
Yes.
Unpack it. Let it feel. Feel it. That's why I named this kintsugi, just to explain for the audience what kintsugi is. It's a Japanese art where they take ceramics that are broken, that have been chipped out or completely broken into pieces, and use clay and a golden dust to stick it back together. And it makes the parts that were broken, the decoration, the beauty on the ceramic part. That becomes the most beautiful part of a broken ceramic. Something that was once a wound, that was once unusable, becomes the most beautiful part. And that's what's happening when we choose to look beyond it. Because all these hurts, all this anger, all these things that life has taught us, it's helping us become wiser. When you consume those emotions, you let them flow through you, you are left with something of an essence, of a thing that makes you wiser, a thing that makes you able to stand your ground without hurting others, able to stand up for yourself in a situation where you have to set boundaries clearly, but without the need to get angry, resentful, and all of that. But you have to go through that resentment. You have to go through that envy. The lesson, the growth, the wisdom, it's on the other side of that emotion. And that's the beauty of it. When you allow yourself to feel that pain, you move through it. I always say pain is necessary, but suffering is optional. This is exactly what I mean. When we avoid the emotion, we suffer because we boil it down, we back it up, and it eats us up inside slowly by slowly. That's suffering, and that's optional. Pain is feeling it in the moment as it is. It's ugly sometimes. Yeah, but feeling it and learning the lesson.
I love that imagery of taking something that's broken and putting it back together again using this gold dust, which makes the seams where you put it back together really stand out, but in a very beautiful way. And I love the analogy when it comes to us people, because in our past, lots of things could have happened that have broken us or damaged us or chipped away at us. And I think the journey of self-discovery or the self-healing journey is about, looking at all of these broken pieces, discovering what happened here, what led up to it, seeing what part is yours, taking ownership of it, what part is somebody else's, maybe do some forgiving, do some healing, do some releasing, depending on what it is, so that you can glue yourself back together again into an even special and more unique version of yourself. So I love that imagery, and I resonate with what you're saying about becoming reactive. I have personally experienced it, and I see it with all of my clients. When you have been, well, sometimes I call it a doormat. And you let everybody walk over you and you repressed everything and you were always there for people and you never voiced your real opinion or your real feelings or any of those things. And you start waking up and you start healing and looking at things, then you sort of swing to the opposite end of this of the scale. And that needs to happen. You need to be familiar with both opposite ends to eventually be able to land in the middle. But then you do go through a period where your fuse is very short and you not only not know yourself or maybe hurt yourself, but sometimes you can even hurt other people because all of a sudden you're angry or and it's exponential, right? It's a lot more anger than the situation calls for, but it's because the vast amount of anger that you've stored deep inside of you has been opened and then it comes out and then you have reactions and responses to things that you don't recognize because you've never let them out, but also don't understand because you are so angry and over something very little or something very small, for instance.
Yes, yes, exactly. But I always bring to the awareness of my clients that it's not the situation that brings out those emotions. It's the fact that you dealt with the suppression,
Yes.
the fact that we worked in the coaching through the suppression brought that out. It's not the situation that's happening in the family that you're fighting about that's the problem. It's years of suppression that want to come out. And
Yes.
that's why usually when this happens, when they have an instant reactive at home, I say, okay, pause. We need to schedule an emergency session because we need to process that. Because like you said, it's exponential.
Yes.
It doesn't burn out. You need to feel it. And most people, that's another thing, most people need a witness. Uh, Many people prefer to go through their healing journey alone. There's a lot of self-help books. There's a lot of material out there, especially with human design and the gene keys. You have a lot of guidance available for out there, books and everything. And most people want to go through their healing journey alone. But the issue is many of our wounds are related to acceptance. We haven't been accepted for them.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you need a witness. You don't need somebody to heal you. You don't need practices specifically. Everybody works different, but you need somebody able to stay there and say, you're still okay, you're enough.
To hold
Somebody who
space for
can
you.
hold that anger, who
Yeah.
can see you cry. And that's what coaches are for. They're not, coaches are not there just to translate human design or gene keys, because yes, sure, you can find it online and translate it for yourself. A coach is there to hold space for your own expression while you're exploring these systems. For example, in my coaching, I don't have fixed schedule at all. I don't meet them once a week or something like that because how can I say? I don't think integration can happen on a schedule.
No, for me it's the same. People book a session with me when they have reached the point where they need a session, and sometimes that can be a couple of times quickly, and sometimes there's a longer period in between. That's also always what I tell them. You know, you never know what comes up, and the amount of time it takes you to process it, to deal with it, and to let go of it.
Exactly, exactly. And that's a very important part of uh, supporting someone, allowing them to go through it. Because, like you said, sometimes they might need a session every week or often, and sometimes they'll be gone 2 months without needing anything, and they'll come back and say, I built a beautiful garden, I did something for myself. You know, they integrated in a different way, they were busy. Interfering with that, it's, it's going to chip away from their own integration.
Hmm. Yes.
And again, about kintsugi, the beauty of it is to see your own wisdom. The beauty of it, for me in my own healing journey and when I witness it for my clients, the beauty of it is when you see the client stand up for themselves, when you see the client not reactive, being in a conflict situation where they stand their ground and they're not angry about it.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. And that's when you see exactly like in this ceramic, you see the gold. What was once was broken, now it shines.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because a lot of people are looking for the answers outside of themselves. If only I have a little bit more knowledge, or if only I do this, or if only I do that. But in the end, all the answers that you're looking for are already within yourself. And sometimes you need someone to shine a light on it for you, or to hold up a mirror and reflect things back to you, or just hold space for you and be there. But in essence, everything that you need is already within yourself, and that's your gold, right? Your beauty, your inner light that needs to come out in order for you to be whole again.
It's funny that you said that your inner gold, because actually my work it's called alchemy by design. So I'm using human design to combine it with alchemy to move from lead to gold. I'm working only with the unconscious. So moving from Saturn unconscious, from design side Saturn, moving up to gold, to sun, gold. And it's interesting because, I started creating it because of Carl Jung. Carl Jung used to say, until we make the unconscious conscious, is going to run our life and we're going to call it fate. And I said, okay, let's work with the unconscious then. And when I started working with clients on the unconscious, I realized that the conscious side, the personality, the doing, automatically aligns. They were able to pursue dreams they wouldn't believe they were possible because their mind was quiet, because there were no more things that they didn't accept in themselves. The unconscious was at peace. So their mind could focus on creating. Our mind is not the problem. Our mind has only one goal, to manifest itself in reality. It uses imagination, it uses everything at its disposal to create, I don't know, lipsticks, headphones, everything we see created by the mind, by our imagination. And that's what it wants. But our unconscious is telling us you're not enough. You can't do that. Who do you think you are? You have to learn more. All of these things are in our unconscious mind, and they stop us from doing things that are natural for us, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I know we've talked about this before, but I believe that everybody is born into this world perfect, and they have natural talents and natural gifts and abilities, and lots of us have clairs, and we think that's the most normal, natural thing in the world. And for the first couple of years of our lives, we use them, and we have imaginary friends, and we are not afraid of falling down because otherwise we will never walk. We're not afraid of failure because otherwise we will never speak. So we have utmost faith in ourselves and in our ability to master walking, speaking, and so many more things. But then we go to school and then we get taught certain things, and that's usually already where it goes wrong. And if you then have a family system that is harmful to you and that doesn't help you accept your gifts and develop your gifts, sometimes even the opposite, then eventually you get an adult that has moved far away from their natural state of being with a whole bunch of wounds and things that are broken and no longer functioning. And then you sort of need to reteach them to be who they are who they were in the first couple of years of their life.
Conditioning a child is sort of normal because it happens in the pentac. According to human design, when more than three people are in contact, there's a pentac. So the moment the child is born, there's a pentac. So the penta will condition not just the child, it will condition the mom, the dead child. The mom feels it the most. I connect it usually with postpartum depression. She loses her identity and identifies with the penta. So conditioning is normal, but in ancient time, especially if you look at cultures like from the Native Americans, they had a moment of initiation when the child was allowed to be himself. We lost that. We
Yes.
are moving from the family penta to the school wa to the university wa, because wa is for 10, 11, 15 people, so it's a bigger structure than the penta. Then you move to the work wa, and you're constantly conditioned. You're never given a chance to be yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
shine as yourself. And then people reach a certain age and say, I don't know myself, I feel lost. Usually it's around Saturn return, 30, or if they don't do it then it's Uranus opposition, the midlife crisis. Usually around there it happens. But it comes this moment of crisis in your life when you go, I don't know myself, I have to refine myself, I have to redefine myself. And that's when people start looking for things like healing, going through dark night of the soul, and all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I also know that it kind of depends on your profile, but those of us who are six lines, we go through multiple dark nights of the soul, and then we have this other integration crises around 50, right, where we come down from everything that we've learned, and then we need to put it into practice. So for a long time, I thought there was only one dark night of the soul, but that's not true. You can have multiple ones, and it kind of depends on, well, your energy type and your profile and where you are at in your learning journey. But I now know that it happens every time you up level. I see us as an onion, and every time we heal stuff or we get to know ourselves better, we peel back certain layers. And with every layer we peel back, we can go through another dark night of the soul, because it's about seeing, did we really learn our lessons? Did we really heal everything? Are we really ready to move to the next phase or the next depth within ourselves?
I see the dark night of the soul a bit different. Like I told you before, the pendulum. So every time you go into the light, every time you expose yourself, every time you up level, you're gonna be pulled back. You're gonna be called to integrate more. There's a saying in Romania, I'm gonna translate it rudely, broadly. The higher a monkey climbs in the tree, the more you see its ass. So the more you go into the light, the more of the shadow you have to integrate. So the more courageous your step is forward, the deeper you will be pulled. And sometimes that deep pull feels like a dark night of the soul. Obviously, you can pendulum like this and not go into the light and be careful. And then you won't have dark nights of the soul because you're going to pendulum back just a little bit. But if you want to be seen, if you want to own yourself, if you want to have a voice, you're going to have to accept that. You're going to have to go through that.
I love that. That's a beautiful imagery. And yeah, so, but in the end, both of us are saying you don't have only one dark night of the soul necessarily.
No, not
Yes.
necessarily. It depends a lot of your own journey and of your own expectations of yourself. If you want to be, let's say, seen, if you want to be heard, you're going to have to accept a lot. If you want to just go through your life, same shit, different day, then yeah, you might have a safe path.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why I specifically named the six lines, because they are the visionary leader. You
Yes.
cannot be a visionary leader if you keep yourself small and invisible.
Yes, exactly. For the sixth line, also before 50, right before they go off the roof, that's how it's called. I had many clients coming at around 47, 48, because all six liners experience a sort of anxiety. because they remember the first 30 years where there it was chaos. It was trial and error. It was bonds made to be broken. Relationships were bad. Jobs were bad. Everything was chaos. And when they feel that they're being pulled off the roof, they feel that anxiety of going back in the chaos. They don't realize that they're a different person, that they're the wise man or woman now. They have learned their lessons, they have gained their wisdom, and they're coming back from a different point of view. They
Mhm.
feel the anxiety of, oh my gosh, I can't go back there, that's chaos.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so we've talked extensively about how your pieces get broken, but
Yes.
I would like also to dive a bit more into how to mend the pieces, how to heal the pieces. And we've already talked about a couple of modalities that can help with that, like human design, the gene keys, alchemy. What other things have you found that were instrumental in mending your pieces?
The thing I still use most is, um, let me make sure, non-personal, NPA, non-personal affiliation. So what that means is when I feel something, it can be nothing. It can be, just I'm feeling meh about this situation. I don't feel like I want to move forward. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm just gonna sit with it. This meh, this feeling of meh, it's not personal, and I choose to experience it fully. And I allow that feeling to sink in my body. Because
Hmm.
usually that's the issue. We rationalize them and we
Hmm.
don't let them sink in the body. We don't let them to be consumed by the body. And
Yes.
once it reaches a point where, sometimes it, especially the example I just gave you, many people don't see it as important, the meh sensation, when you don't feel like doing anything at all.
Hmm.
They don't see it as important because it's not reactive, it's not hurting anyone, and they dismiss it. But that meh sensation keeps you stuck, keeps you from doing things.
Yes.
And when you let it sink in, oftentimes for me, for example, it felt like disgust. I almost threw up a couple of times. It's physical, it's embodied. And the moment you embody it and you let it do its thing in you, it goes away, it neutralizes.
Yes.
And that's a way of healing that allows the body to heal it. Your mind is not able to heal it, no matter how much you try to rationalize it.
Hmm.
You can piece up a beautiful puzzle of why you are broken. It's a beautiful puzzle that you can put up, but it
Yeah.
won't help you until you let the body do its thing. That's why in human design, they say leave strategy and authority to the body, because the body needs to process things. It needs to go through it. And also Gabor Mate, who is famous both physician and has many books written,
Yeah.
says that the body keeps the score.
Yes.
It's the body that needs to heal it. It's the body that needs to feel it. If we're not allowing it, we are holding on to it.
Hmm. Yeah, body and mind are connected, and usually we put the mind in the driver's seat. And that is not a bad thing per se, but in the end, it is the body which decides if we continue. You see that very clearly with a burnout. The mind keeps going and going and pushing and going and pushing and going. But if the body reaches the point where it thinks, no more, stop,
No more.
this is it, then it stops and there is no more. No matter what the mind wants, no matter how hard the mind pushes, the body is the one that makes the end decision. And we often try, in what you're saying, to rationalize, to think, why is this happening? Or am I supposed to learn something from it? And that's also because of our society, right? We've put a huge emphasis on learning and mental abilities, and we see that as the normal thing. And because of that, we've well, most of my clients have lost contact with their body. They no longer feel the signals the body is giving, which ends them up in a burnout if they're not careful. They no longer feel their intuition, the intuition and how it feels in the body. They no longer listen into it, and they just keep going and going and going. But then when we don't want to look at things that are happening, or when we think, oh, I just got fired, but I cannot break down and cry here because whatever your reason is, and then you push down your emotions, or you're in a fight with someone and you think, oh, I cannot cry now because it's not convenient, and you push it away and you shove it away. You internalize it. It doesn't go away. You just push it deeper into your body, and there's a limit to how often you can do that and how much you can push into your body. And eventually you need to schedule time to let that come up, to let that come to the surface. And once you step into your healing journey and you understand how this works, then every time something is triggered, you no longer push it away, but you make space to feel it in the body and to try to just experience it without judging it, or without trying to find meaning in it, or what it's going to teach you, but just observe it, sort of like the bird's eye third person view, and just allowing to happen what needs to happen. And hopefully you have the right tools to help you move through it, because in the end it's emotion, energy, emotion. It needs to move.
Yes. And that brings me to the other way of healing, which is movement. On my Facebook, I put dancing videos daily because dancing is my way of moving, but I emphasize a lot but that it doesn't have to be everyone's way. Walking, swimming, running, martial arts, yoga,
Dancing.
anything works. But I keep telling people, if you don't move, nothing moves.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have to move it out. You have to allow it. Especially when I hear people that they're always stuck in overthinking. Overthinking is nothing else than your own motor energy that was not used, moving upwards into your head and causing noise because you didn't use it.
Hmm.
When you're overthinking, stop, do some movement, whatever you prefer to move, anything you like. But the moment you move, that overthinking will slow down, will shut up. Your mind will be clear again, and you'll be able to see things. The
Yes.
more we keep sedentary and the more we keep into these routines that life gave us, we come from work, we sit on the sofa because we're tired and we do nothing, the more overthinking happens and the more
Mhm.
anxiety happens because there's just energy built up in us that we haven't used it. Like you said, emotions are energy in motion. And you might think that you're angry from work, but tired from work, but at work you've been angry, at work you've been stressed, at work you've been all of those emotions and you didn't let anything surface because you were at work. And now all of that energy is built up in your head, and you're thinking, oh, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep, so I'm gonna binge watch 3 seasons on Netflix. No,
Yeah.
just move and then go to sleep.
Yes. Yeah, for a long time, dancing was, I call it my overflow valve. So everything that happened that was too much, I would just dance for hours and hours and hours, and it was literally just dancing everything out. And when I was going through my self healing journey, when I was going myself through my healing journey, I needed to walk every single day for at least 1.5 to sometimes 3, 4 hours a day, just moving, walking, being in nature. The healing energy of nature is a huge contributing factor to moving and shifting. But in the end, when I walk with clients who are in a burnout, I see the results immediately because your mind and your body are connected. So when the mind is stuck, if you move the body, then the mind also becomes unstuck. They're connected to each other. And what I also see is that when people are in a burnout, especially in the beginning, they move very fast. They're just walk, 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 walk. And I take them into the woods and I move relaxed and slow, and it annoys them to no end in the beginning, because it's a much slower pace than the speed of which their life is going, which reflects in the speed with which they're walking. But then when we are walking and we pass something, and there was this beautiful field of what we call snow clocks. They're little white bell flowers, and they're really really pretty. And I said, did you see all of the beautiful flowers? And they were like, flowers, flowers. Were there flowers? Right? Because when you move on high speed, you're blind. It's like you have blindfolds on, or these things that horses have when they draw a carriage. You don't see anything around you. You're just focused on the next project or the next goal that you want to manifest. And you can only do that for so long. It's unsustainable for the long term. So moving your body, I agree, is a really great way. And it doesn't really matter what you're saying, how you do it. Find something that you enjoy. It can be playing squash, it can be playing volleyball, it can be just walking, it can be dancing, it can be yoga, it can be martial arts, swimming. It doesn't really matter, as long as you find the thing that you enjoy when moving your body.
Yes, yes. The body and mind, like you said, are connected, and we need to respect this connection and allowing both of them to show up.
Yes.
Allowing the mind to do its thing and allowing the body to do its thing. In human design, I personally consider that the personality side is the masculine and the design side is the feminine. And whenever you have an idea, it's the mind, the masculine, is like it's inseminates the design and inseminates the body with that idea. But you have to allow the body the time to gestate that, to keep that, and to bring it forward. But the mind is often impatient and wants to move things fast, fast, fast. And like you said, it puts on the blindfold eyes and it wants to do just that thing, don't do anything else. And the body is exactly like you said. Do you see the flowers? Do you see the environment? And when it expands and sees everything, that's when it creates, because maybe those flowers, that environment brings a new idea, a new shape to what you wanted to create. And it
Yes.
becomes more beautiful than what you envisioned at first. But the mind has a pinpoint view, like the masculine. The
Yeah.
masculine, the man is supposed to go hunt. They see the prey and they hunt it, while the women gather and take care of children and they have a wider view. It's the same. Your body has a wider view of what's possible in life, what to enjoy in life. And it drives you towards these things. What's there to enjoy? What's there to move? What's there to see? It smells. Oh, what's that ugly smell? Oh, what's the beautiful smell? It goes to all of this. While the
Yes.
mind goes, target, hit it, hit it. It's
Go, go,
important
go,
to
go.
acknowledge both. I'm not saying ignore your target, but allow
No,
yourself to enjoy the scenery while
a
you're
healthy
moving in
balance,
that.
right?
Yeah, balance.
Yes. So male cannot exist without female, and female cannot exist without male. You see that really beautifully in the symbol that we call yin and yang.
Yes.
And it's always there. You cannot have sun without moon. You cannot have ebb without float. You cannot have day without night. And so it's always connected. And everything, I think, in life in the end revolves around balance, finding your balance. And balance doesn't mean that it's equally in the middle. It can sometimes be a little bit like that, and sometimes a bit like that, and that's okay. It is not stationary. It's always in motion. But when it's always like this or always like that, then it causes the problems.
Then yes, and also it's when we don't allow, it's like a seesaw. When we
Mhm.
don't allow them to move, then we're either way stuck in a position. And that's when we start complaining that we're not manifesting, that we're feeling all, burned out and all of that, because we're keeping the scale bent in one direction. And then, of course, one can never manifest, and the other one can not stop thinking, and it creates an imbalance that we're not aware of. I'm trying so hard. Why isn't it working? Well, have you tried slowing down to keep the balance, to keep it moving?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I have to be honest, the most beautiful, inspirational ideas always come to me when I'm walking in the woods.
Yeah, same, same. I love the woods. Too bad I have too few here in Malta, but here I have the sea. So
Oh yeah, yeah, I miss the sea. I also love being in the sea. I always say my ideal home would be on the edge where you have woods on the one side and the ocean on the other side. That would be ideal because I love the energy of water. I can also get really beautiful ideas when I'm in my hammock next to the water. But for motion and movement, I really love the woods as well. Yeah.
I lived for 10 years next to the sea. Now I'm planning to move in the woods somewhere.
Nice. Yeah. So, is there some tips or, or some final words that you would like to share with people who are feeling broken?
The most important thing that I would like to share is not don't be afraid of your broken part. It's just feelings, it's just emotions that need to come out. I usually describe them as being frozen within you. They have to thaw, and flow through you. You have to allow them. It seems scary, but most of the times it's scary just because when you were hurt, you were a child, a teenager, you were too young to hold that. Your mind is not evil for suppressing you. Your mind was protecting you because you were too fragile at that moment. You are an adult now. You can hold that. It's just an emotion. It's just temporary. It's gonna flow. Don't be afraid of it because it will not consume you. It will heal you. It will not break you any further.
I love that message. Thank you so much. If you are watching and listening out there, I would love it if you could interact with us. Maybe you have a question, feel free to put it in the comments. Maybe you'd like to share your story, also feel free to share it in the comments because this will help other people with similar journeys or similar questions. And if you have one key insight or one key takeaway that you got from our talk today, I would also love to hear that. So share that in the comments. I can also imagine that you would like to know where can I find Daria? How can I contact Daria? So where can people find you, Daria?
They can find me on Facebook as Daria Stan, and they can find me on my website, which is also dariastan.eu.
Perfect. I will make sure that the links that Daria just mentioned are included in the show notes below this video. So look for them and you will find both a way to contact Daria as well as a way to contact me. I also offer free clarity calls to people who feel that they want to explore their healing journey. So feel free to reach out to either one of us if you resonate with our energy. For today, I want to thank you, Daria, for this really wonderful conversation and the wonderful things that you've shared. I've loved our talk. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
I also want to thank you, viewer, listener, for your support for this channel. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, maybe even the notification bell, so you will never miss a new video release ever again on this channel. And for today, I wish all of us a really beautiful rest of our day, and I look forward to inspiring you again with another beautiful guest in next week's episode. Bye for now.